Hi, we're live and welcome to our webinar today. If you keep breaking your rules, then this webinar is for you. So I want to talk through this because it's keeping so many traders going round and round in circles and staying unprofitable. And it's a bit scary because you can really stay in this loop of unprofitability for years. It does take traders on average 2, 4, 6 years to become profitable. And this here is a big issue with it. So I'm going to unpack it for you. And if you think that breaking your rules is because you're undisciplined, it's not the issue. I'm going to, at the end of the webinar, tell you two things you must start doing today because we're looking at solutions. But you can't do a solution or you can't implement a solution. You can't fix something if you don't know what is wrong. And that's really the problem we have. So, one, it's not you, it's a biological issue we have as humans. It is fixable. And the reason we misunderstand this, the reason we're not clear on why we keep breaking our rules, and it happens again and again, and we're always left with, why can't I just follow my rules? I think we've all said that as traders, is that we're not taught this correctly. We're sold strategies, we're sold signals, groups, even mentorships that don't help because they're teaching you to just focus on the strategy, the edge. And you can trade any strategy. It doesn't matter how good your strategy is. If you don't fix this, you'll be going around and round in circles. I'm just going to clear my glasses because we've got a storm here at the moment, so it's a bit humid, put it that way. Okay, so let's dive into this because it's going to be a short webinar to the point. We want to get back to our trading quickly. Right, everything seems to be working, so let's get into it. Number one, let's just be very, very clear that you're not the problem, right? You know your strategy, you've done back testing, you know it's profitable, you've done the work, you've probably spent, if you're like I was, you've probably spent hours and hours all your weekends at the charts and you're frustrated because it's just not working. But it's not you, right? Because the fact is that rules do not get broken because you don't care. Rules aren't getting broken because you're not working hard enough. Rules are getting broken because of our emotional states, the pressure, the emotional pressure that we're put under as traders. So let's dive into that so we can understand properly what's actually happening when you're trading, right? Let's look at what happens when you're not trading, at back testing, doing the analysis, learning a strategy. There's no pressure on you. You're in a calm environment. You can focus, you can concentrate. We all know how to concentrate. We all know how to focus. We all actually know how to be disciplined at work. Spending time working, that's discipline, right? But the environment is a very calm one. So it allows your logical brain to think, okay? It gives you space. It gives your brain space to actually be logical. But what your brain is doing when you're live trading, okay, live trading is a totally different beast because what your brain is doing is, and this is really, really, really important, your brain is programmed to do whatever it needs to do to avoid pain right now. Right now, if you have any bit of emotional pain, your brain will make you do things. So it's sometimes unconscious. That's why this isn't your fault. This isn't something you're just bad at doing. This is just how our brains work. Your brain will act, convince you to do stuff so that you get out of pain. So let's unpack the pain. What is painful? Letting a winner run is painful because there's uncertainty. You've already got some profits. What if you lose those? What if it doesn't run as far as you go? The uncertainty is very painful. So why do you cut winners fast? Because your brain wants to get you relief. relief to grab whatever's there. You're going to feel amazing. Okay, we're thinking here of what's painful and what's pleasure, what's not painful. So it takes you from the painful state of anticipation, of expectation, of waiting, of not being sure. That's painful, to the relief of, oh, okay, I've got that profit. I've locked in that 1 hour or that half an hour or that break even is locked in. That's why you're, jumping the gun on that. Let's look at when you've just entered a trade and you go into a little bit of a drawdown. Well, why does your brain make you stay in, why does your brain make you get out of trades that are just a little bit of drawdown, but is not, hasn't hit your stop loss yet, but hasn't, so you're doing the same thing as before. Your brain's going to go, oh, I'm unsure if this is going to hit my stop or not, so I'm just going to get out of it. It's the same as leaving the profits one. It wants to get you out of the pain. Why does your brain make you stay in losses, so move your stop loss and not allow you to take losses? Because the painful bit there is, to take a loss means you're going to admit that you're wrong. Very painful for us as humans. So your brain wants to avoid that and keeps going, it'll turn around, you're okay. It's keeping you in a pain-free space, even though when it eventually hits that big stop loss, it's going to be very painful. Your brain isn't thinking about that. It's thinking about right now, okay? You need to understand how immediate this is for your brain. It wants to do something right now, and that's why it feels like you've got no control. Your impulse is just acting, okay? FOMO trading. Why are you jumping into trades that aren't even yours? Why are you jumping on the, why are you FOMOing? Because you don't want to miss out. Missing out is very painful for us. So your brain's like, oh, I don't want you to be left out and miss out. That's horrible for you. So let's just do this. Your brain is kind of goes on autopilot and it controls you. It's very hard to control this if you're untrained. Okay, there's hope. It's not impossible. It's just hard. This isn't just going to happen because this is how we're programmed. Remember, we are cave people at the end of the day. We grew up in caves. Our ancestors were in caves. This brain jumping to keep you out of pain, it's actually also there to save your life. That's why this happens. That's why this mechanism is there. It's not to decide, is this very painful or is this more painful? Is this painful enough? It just registers anything painful for you when it jumps in, because it's detecting a fear response. Okay, pain, that uncertainty, that pain of being wrong, that fear of missing out, it all comes down to fear. As soon as you have a bit of fear, it could be a bear that's coming to kill you. So that's why your brain jumps in and does this, okay? That's why it's not your fault. It's not really in your control, but we can actually train ourselves to be in control of this. And I'm going to show you exactly how. But it's important to understand what's actually going on and why it's so vicious. This is a very, very vicious cycle. Okay. Before we can move to how to fix this, we need to understand why this is such a vicious cycle, because how to fix this is misunderstood, okay? It's not your strategy. A new strategy isn't going to fix this for you. And that's why you often get the strategy jumpers. You jump from strategy to strategy because you're like, this strategy doesn't work. You know what else is painful? Is admitting that you're breaking your rules, admitting that you're not following the trading rules as they're designed. That's painful. So your brain will convince you that you have. Oh no, we did that. We followed it. It's the strategy's fault. Cool. That's a very pain-free thing to have. It's the strategy's fault. So it's nice to go and choose a new strategy. It feels great. You're like, this one's going to work. You've got hope. You've got the joy of the work you've got to do. You've got purpose now. It's exciting starting a new strategy, but it's not going to fix your issue because your brain is just running you away from the pain of admitting that you're breaking your rules and actually doing the work here. Okay, so a new strategy isn't going to fix this. More rules, getting tighter and tighter rules isn't going to fix this, because it's not a rule thing. It's not a logical thing. It's not an intellectual thing. It's an emotional response that you're having. So studying more isn't going to fix this. Can you start to see perhaps now why you're on this vicious cycle? You need to get off it. And we're going to do that today. Okay, this is the turn off of the merry-go-round. We're going to jump off and we're going to actually start making some changes. Warning here, it's painful. So your brain is going to be fighting you. From here on out, your brain is going to be fighting you, but at least you understand the battle you're in. Okay. Now, I want to just be very clear about so what's really going on while we're trading. It's an emotional thing. And if you want to go like pinpoint exactly what it is, what we're trying to do as traders is delay gratification under pressure. Gratification is that letting that trade run out, and over a certain number of trades you will have profits. With a profitable strategy, that is how it works. Okay, there's many profitable strategies. Don't jump to the conclusion that your strategy is not profitable. If you have tested it and it's profitable, it's profitable. Now, delayed gratification, our brains hate this. It hates delaying gratification. This has been proven over and over and over again in scientific experiments. It's not impossible. There are people that can teach themselves. Some people are just born with it a little bit more, but most people have to teach themselves delayed gratification, and that is the path to success. There's very few successful people that haven't learned how to delay gratification. Okay, delayed gratification, which is delaying your joy, your pleasure, means that you're going to be sitting in pain. So you've got to be okay with that. But with trading, it's delayed gratification, which is already a space your brain just hates. And then it's under pressure, because it's a time-based thing. There's money on the line and you've got a certain number of time to make decisions. The pressure is added on top of that. Now you've already got a situation your brain hates, delaying gratification, then you've got this pressured environment. It's no wonder we are breaking our rules, okay? And then convincing ourselves that we're not, that it's actually a strategy thing. Okay, so don't beat yourself up about this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're actually a very normal human if this is how you're behaving. But if you want to be a trader, you need to now start taking the next step. So let's move ahead so that we can teach our bodies how to tolerate this. That's what we need to do. Okay. So this is a skill that few people are teaching traders, mainly because they don't know how to teach traders this. Today, I'm going to give you 2 things to start doing, but this is a skill that is not going to just happen overnight. You need to start working on it, but in the space of about 6 weeks to 3 months, so 6 to 12 weeks, you can absolutely get complete control of this as you trade. Okay, so that's how it works. But you are a little beast that needs to be trained, and most likely you're going to try and train yourself, and you're going to need to be patient with yourself and keep working at this, because training yourself is hard. But if you're choosing to train yourself, that's how it's going to work. If you want to do coaching with me, because I train traders to do this, then that's the best way to do it. It's the fastest way to do it. Then you need to contact Gerald below and do an application, come and do a discovery call, see if it's right for you. Okay, that's the best way to do it, because that's what I'm trained to do. I'm trained to train traders how to regulate themselves, how to get the skill of self-management. But many people, and myself included, because I didn't have someone teaching me this at the time when I had to really learn it, I had mentors that taught me many things and made this better for me. But in the start, I really had to kind of just discover this little bit for myself. And it's a hard path, okay? You're going to keep possibly failing at first, You've got to jump back on the bandwagon. It's going to be a bit of a cycle, but you've got to start training yourself on the skill, because now that you've learned what you need, this is what you need to do. You've now got the knowledge. Now you've got no more excuses. You're now running away to learn more strategies. You are kind of running away from the pain that is required to become a trader. So you need to start training yourself to sit with discomfort, to sit with feelings of pain, to sit with feelings that don't feel great, that aren't gratitude. Remember, like taking the profits and getting out of the painful situation gives you a dopamine hit. As soon as you're out of pain, anything that feels good is because you're getting a dopamine hit. And we're quite addicted to dopamine. It's a bit like being addicted to cocaine or to sugar. We're addicted to dopamine, so we chase it. That's why FOMO trading is such a hard thing to actually get rid of, because it gives you a dopamine hit. So if you've ever tried to give up sugar, God forbid, you've tried to, give up a drug that you're addicted to, this is going to be a little bit like that at the start, because the addiction is quite strong because it gives you that hit of dopamine. That's why it can be quite hard to train yourself, because you're going to go back and forth. The battle begins now, okay? But that's normal. That's going to be a normal part of the process. It's going to feel like a battle because of this, okay? But this is the psychological skill that you need to learn, and this is where you get off the merry-go-round and you're actually going to start making improvement. And it is going to happen in a few months if you stick with working on this, but it's not going to happen overnight. So don't have unrealistic expectations. Trading isn't an overnight success thing. It's not get rich quick. It is a skill that you are learning. You're training yourself, and then it's going to be a skill that you can have forever. The risk versus the reward, what do you have to give up, what work do you have to do versus the reward, it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. It's the best thing to do is trading. But trading on that merry-go-round, thinking that you're trading and just jumping from strategy to strategy is not fun. It's not helpful, it doesn't work, so you need to stop. Okay. So because you've never been taught any of this yet, of course you're breaking your rules. I hope you're starting to see now the reality, through the mist. You're starting to see what's actually going on, what's actually keeping you unprofitable. So now we're going to get to the real question you need to be asking yourself, okay? So you can stop asking yourself, why can't I just follow my rules? That's done. You know why. Now we're going to get down into the nitty-gritty of it, okay? And this is where we're going to look at our two solutions. This is where it starts, is that you need to start, instead of just asking yourself, why am I breaking my rules? It's a little bit of a hopeless, and I understand why it just feels so like ridiculous. Like, why can't I just follow my rules? I've been there. I definitely know what it feels like. But now we know. So now we need to start asking, what pain am I trying to avoid? You need to now start doing analysis on your emotional state while you are trading. So if you are like, oh, I just want to take the profits, you need to be able to go, what pain am I trying to avoid? I'm trying to avoid the pain of waiting, the pain of uncertainty. Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to just sit in that pain for longer because it's the right thing to do. Why do I want to move my stop loss or not place a stop loss? What are you avoiding? Ask yourself the question, what pain am I avoiding? I'm avoiding the pain of admitting that I'm wrong, admitting that this trade is wrong. Okay, remember, I talk about it a lot. You're not wrong. You've got to take losses as well as part of trading. It doesn't mean you're wrong, but our brains believe we're wrong. Okay, so when you're going to move your stop loss or let a loser just get bigger and bigger, what pain am I avoiding? You're avoiding the pain of being wrong. Okay, I'm just going to have to sit with that pain because my stop loss has been hit. You've got to take that loss. Okay. So number one, I want you to start asking yourself in the moment when when you are breaking your rule or about to break your rule, you want to ask yourself, what pain am I avoiding? And if you can name the pain, you're going to have to accept that pain and go, that's okay, that's how it should feel. Do the right thing. Okay. In the beginning, maybe your first week or two, you're probably going to already have taken the action because your brain is so powerful. It's just going to do, right? So as soon as, maybe in the beginning you might do it, and at the end of the week you go, oh, I was actually avoiding this pain and avoiding this pain. That's analysis after the fact. As you progress every day, every week, I want that analysis to get closer and closer and closer to the action. The sooner you recognize the emotional state or the action that you shouldn't have taken, I want you to name the emotion, and that should go in your journal. Eventually, I want you to be able to name that emotion before you take the action. So can you see how you're going to get closer and closer and closer to doing the wrong thing? Eventually, you're going to be before you do the wrong thing. That's where you want to be. Okay? And eventually, it's going to just become normal to feel these feelings, but you're able to stick to your rules. That's how it's going to work. So number one, that's what you're going to start doing from today. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a bit painful. But I know you can do it, right? The second thing you must do is that we've already talked about this delayed gratification under pressure. What you're putting yourself, the environment you're in that moment is a lot to deal with. And now you're trying to be aware of what's going on. It's going to take practice, okay? You're practicing a skill to regulate yourself. So it's going to take practice and practice and practice. Eventually, these things start to lose their power. But before that, it's very difficult. So we want to make this as easy for ourselves as possible. And the thing that's going to make this the hardest, you're going to put a lot more pressure on yourself, is if your rules are not clear. If you've got very complicated rules, your brain will not have the capacity to also notice what you're doing emotionally. You just cannot. That is an impossibility. Okay, that has been tested in scientific experiments. If you want to understand the limit of what you can manage with inputs and overwhelm, you need to study air crash investigations and what pilots can or cannot do, how much they can cope with under pressure, because that tells you it's not a lot. You might think I can multitask, you cannot. Now, you need to make your rules as clear, as simple as possible. The reason is you want to give your brain the space. You don't want to overwhelm your brain because you need space to identify how you are feeling. Okay, simple, super simple. Now you know why you keep breaking your rules. It's not discipline. It's your emotional state. It's your, you are just not trained yet. You don't have the skill to regulate yourself. This is going to become second nature. Give it a few months, put in the work. And if you want to speed that up, then contact Gerald below. Come and do coaching with me. I'll sort this out for you. And it's exciting to be back. This is our first webinar back on the Trader's Journal. I'll be back next week. I hope you have a great week. Put all of this into practice. Do it. Subscribe to our channel. We've got quite a few different webinars, a few different people teaching strategies. It's a great channel. There's so much content here. If you get a funding account, which is the best way to be trading and learning to trade, because you've got accountability, it's a limited loss. So if you're not yet profitable, make sure you become profitable through challenge accounts. It's the best way to do it. And when you grab a challenge account, then get into the Discord for CTI. Find us there. There's all the coaches have their own channel, and we're all there to help you. So get involved. If you need help or you want to talk through things, then contact people in there. Fantastic environment.